And
There
so,
we go.
yeah, here we go. Another great episode here. Archery is a worldwide sport, and we have somebody on the line that is going to help us prove the fact that archery is a sport that is common amongst all over the world. On the line, we have Stephen with us. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Yeah, I'm from Belgium and I'm 3D fanatic. Let me see. Nature shooting, that's just my thing. And
Yeah, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm your host today on Arch Talk 101. And as you can see, we're going to get into having a lot of fun talking with Stephen about archery and how it's different in Belgium than it is all over the world, which
yeah,
is not much, but it's the same and different,
absolutely.
So tell us a little something about yourself and how you got started in archery.
Oh, archery. Archery is actually something that saved my life when I had a massive burnout. Started doing archery and just gave me like a goal, something to work for, because it doesn't come easy. And yeah, so I ended up now, this is my second year as Belgium national champion in the 3D Belgium Belgium competition. I just did the 2D. So that's not an actual animal, that's a drawing of an animal on a flat surface like field shooting, but just animal targets. I won that. That's already in the pocket. IFA, the International Federation, they only had one competition to get a Belgium champion, so I won that as well. And yeah, that's about it for this year. And yeah, my goal for next year is to really do well on the Europeans. If I want that, I want that medal. That's just how simple it is.
Yeah. One thing about archery is, pick which one you want to go after. There's so many of them. You can do the 3D, you can do, like you said, the 2D,
so many.
Indoor, outdoor, and there's just so many. There's unmarked yardage 3Ds, marked yardage 3Ds.
We don't actually in Belgium. We don't have marked yardage 3Ds. And something that doesn't exist. It's only unmarked.
Yeah, and I've never been to a marked one, and I really don't see any reason to go to that because I'm a hunter. I don't have marked yardage.
Same thing here. I even went a step further. My thing was before was a hunting recurve, instinctive shooting, and because of a shoulder injury, that didn't work anymore. I got that shoulder injury by shooting regular Olympic recurve, and just for training purposes, I picked up an older compound bow, 40-inch. And just started shooting it with my fingers, no visor, just like you shoot an instinctive bow.
Right.
And then I found out it's actually a class in IFA. So yeah. From having just some fun to turning into something serious is quite big change in 2 years and 2 seasons.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good to go from, starting out. And so you just started archery a couple of years ago then, right?
2008.
2008.
When the big financial crash was, I lost my business. And you get into a big black hole then, and archery is what got me out.
Yeah, one thing when you're shooting archery is you can only think about shooting your bow and where the arrow's going.
Yeah.
Everything else has to get blocked out.
Yeah, and that's the magical thing about nature archery. You're in nature and you really zone out. You get just that goal, just that kill zone. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah. At that point, nothing else matters.
No.
It's like where you want that arrow to go, and you just visualize that arrow hitting there. And while you're doing that, nothing else can pop into your head.
No, and with a compound bow, you've got so many tweaking possibilities, even without a visor and everything. So that's the fun part as well. Because I worked for 3 years in an archery center as a technician, so it's quite fun working on your own bows. I like to Bolt and unbolt shit.
Yeah, have a tendency, once I get them set up, I don't mess with them until like string breaks, and then I got to get a new string, and
Yeah,
then I make a new string, and then it takes me a while to get it set up, and I
same
got three
thing
bows, and
here.
I need to work on all three of them.
Yeah, that's why my wife goes crazy. She's like, "Why do you always buy things in pairs?" 'Cause if I mess one up, the other one is still okay.
Yeah.
One to
Uh,
experiment and one to, yeah, actually use. Oh yeah. And the fun part is when you shoot with your fingers, it doesn't need to be the newest bow. You can use any over 36-inch bow when your brace height isn't that far. When you've got about 27.5 to 28 draw length, any 36-inch compound bow will do, no matter how old.
right.
That's the fun part. So it's quite cheap to get into shooting, and yeah, you don't mess up your shoulder that much.
Yeah. We got a little bit of let off that helps on that, and
Yeah, I played a bit around with the cam, so I'm at about 90% let off at the
oh,
moment. So yeah, it's quite easy to just keep on target
yeah, yeah. I
and
know that.
get your gap exactly right.
Yeah, as the new bows get shorter and shorter and shorter, it makes it impossible to shoot with fingers. And
Yeah, the angle gets like too small. That's why 36 is absolute the minimum. Because yeah, you squeeze your fingers too much together, and also you got to change your timing completely, and also the tillering of the limbs. The top limb should be like 1/4 of a turn harder than the bottom limb, because you have your three fingers underneath the arrow. And
yeah,
yeah, it's not, yeah, the synchronization is also different to get them to tap together. If you would put a D loop on there and try to shoot a bow that is set up for finger shooting, you wouldn't hit broadside of a barn. You couldn't get a
yeah.
group. It's like, no, nothing's right on it.
Well,
But
when you're pulling with a release, you have that loop behind there, and you're pulling
yeah,
straight behind the knock, and there's really no difference between the top and bottom, or shouldn't be.
there
Uh,
shouldn't be. There's even guys who shoot internationally, especially Germans. They kind of found a system by putting more pressure on a finger, like playing a trumpet
oh yeah,
for up and down. But no, that's not my thing. Sorry, too much thinking. I don't do like I don't do like distancing and all that kind of stuff. Just you walk up there, look, feel, and go.
yeah. I know when I shoot my recurve, I don't look at the arrow. I don't gap shoot. I just look where I want the arrow to go and draw back and shoot. And I don't
Yeah,
do it a lot, so I'm not real good at it because I just don't put the time into practice. But I figure if I'm going to start looking at the tip of my arrow, I'm just going to put sights on it.
hmm. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I know that feeling. You see that little shadow? That's about the only thing I see from the tip of my arrow. And the rest is just keeping both eyes on target.
yeah. And with my eyes, if I did it, I'd see two tips of the arrow anyway. So
Yeah.
which one do I use?
Yeah. That's also, that's what I think is fun as well in the International Field Association, the 3D competitions. That's one rule set for the whole world. Everybody shoots the same way of counting points, same kill zones, everything. But then you look at national competitions, like for instance, there couldn't be a bigger difference between the US nationals and the Belgium nationals, for instance. Like that's like two different worlds. Like you guys have like these in the kill zone, these
Right.
14 point zones.
Yeah. I've
That's so
when I was
yeah,
doing
I
when I was
never
doing a
did
lot of
that in my
both.
whole life. That kind
Yeah.
of shooting. And yeah,
I've seen somewhere that little ring is off into the 8 zone. So if you
yeah,
miss it, you get an
yeah,
8 or a 5, not in
yeah.
the center. It's weird. It's not even a good placement for a kill
No,
shot on the
I
animal.
would never shoot there if I was hunting. Never ever in my life.
No.
No. It's the least spot I want to hit. I know I'm going to be looking a lot.
At least you got your 8 ring and your 10 ring and your 12 ring and or whatever they're calling the middle one. It's getting closer and closer to the center. Yeah, and now then if you go shooting for the owner, I've seen a picture. They had a 3D target, and they're all way off up in this low and up in the upper 8, and it's all together, and it is looking like it's good. And then I noticed, oh, that's where that little ring is up there. Where all 3 or 4 of them hitting that little bitty ring, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, for us, it's quite simple, and that makes the game also pretty tense. That's why the first round in the internationals is a whole week. The tournament, the first week, it's the eliminations, and then the straight eliminations start. But our counting system is in EFA. When you hit the 8 zone, that's considered kill. So that means first arrow, 20 points. If you hit the rest of the animal, that's 18 points. So as long as you hit the animal and you keep on hitting in the first arrow, you're going to win. Doesn't matter. Those kills will come automatically, but you don't need them in my category. Just make sure the first arrow is on the animal, and you've got this in the pocket.
That's a different way of scoring.
Yeah. Second arrow is, for instance, kill 16, just hit 14. And if you have to use a third arrow, that's how much? 12 and 10. Yeah, third arrow, it doesn't even count anymore for me, because if you have like 2 third arrows and you're in a straight fight with somebody, it's over. You're done.
Yeah.
So that gives a different kind of pressure. But
it is.
Yeah, and that helps as well. My training buddy and me, we both shoot compound blank, but he shoots barebow. That means you can have a full stabilizing system, which I think looks funny when you shoot with your fingers and you've got a long stabilizer in the front.
Yeah.
I always tease him with it. And you can use a drop away arrow support, which makes a huge difference in how you get punished when you're letting go of your fingers. I've got to use a fixed one.
Yeah,
and you can do like string walking like on a barebow, but I don't really see the point because your timing changes the whole time, and that's not really the way to shoot a compound.
Yeah, I hear a lot of doing it with the recurves.
Yeah, barebow, it's getting big. It's really getting big.
Yeah, I at first I heard of it as like string walker. What the hell is a string walker? I'm thinking a tightrope walker or a skin walker or something like that. And then I finally looked at some stuff, and then I've had a couple people interviewed that do it and explain how it works. And concept wise, it kind of makes sense. You how many fingers down for the close range, and you move your fingers up and until you get there, and who knows, if a little further, maybe you'd start going above a knock.
They even have like in their palette, they've got like every millimeter a little line. So they really walk up the ladder millimeter by millimeter. They're getting to a point at this moment. It's the most popular series in Belgian competition. And usually there's not many regular recurves in front of them. Even they make life sour on 50% of the open class, the compounds with visor, because they've got a maximum distance of 30 meters. That's not much.
No.
So if you can string walk, you've got the precision of a regular visor, but they really shoot point on. It's a total different game. It's not my thing. It's too much thinking. Just let me point my bow where I want to hit, and that's where the arrow goes. I just love the simplicity of shooting instinctive.
Yeah, it's the more you have to think about, the more chance you have of something going wrong, not thinking step by step. Sometimes it's hard enough to remember to aim when you're pulling back on a deer.
That's true. And like yeah, these guys and always, oh yeah, I forgot to turn my visor. I'm like, sorry, mate, but I don't need a visor to blame for my mistakes.
Yeah, yeah, it, the simpler the better, because
Yeah, that's true. Now the thing I'm quite proud about is like in the from 2008 till now, yeah, how many? I won 60 national championships. So in 4 different bow types, especially those 4 different types, that just gives a kick.
oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty good when you take 4 different types of bows and
yeah,
win with all of them.
yeah. It's fun and people. Yeah, for me, archery is my life. I was one of the lucky ones that could, yeah, live off it for a few years as a bow technician and a trainer. And yeah, but yeah, it's a hobby. And then comes COVID and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, for most little training centers, that meant the end over here. I think the same thing went on in the US.
Yeah, that was a big fiasco that
Yeah, yeah. So,
n-
yeah.
yeah, didn't need to happen. And
Nope.
yeah, we all know what happened. We don't have to talk about
Yeah.
it, but
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, change people's life like mine. Uh, I still shoot for the team, and it's not a small team. If you see, that's where the Mike Schlusser started his career, and yeah, who else? Steve Weiler, silver medalist last Olympics. They all, yeah, we all did their technical support and everything, and training wise, it was a fun time. You
yeah.
know, the brighter system, camera system that it films from 4 different angles, and you can do it in high definition slow motion. So you can see in 4 different angles how you lose and work on your
Oh
technique,
yeah.
and that's what they worked on with these guys.
Oh yeah, because that's one of the things, I've been teaching for quite a while. When I first started, if you want to record it, you're using a VCR tape.
Yep.
And then you had to play them back on a TV because the monitors, if they had a monitor on a camera, it was so
Mhm. You
small you
can
couldn't see
see
anything
stuff on.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now, with the cell phones, most of the
Yeah.
time I
Most of
record
them
all
are
my
good enough to do that with,
yeah,
as long
all
as
my
there's enough
videos.
light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of them do really good in low light too. And then they always have the camera, the flash on the camera
Yeah.
that you can turn on. And I know now it's so much easier because when I'm helping somebody out, they just got to record their views, and you can look at somebody, you can get down into little details that you can't see by watching them. Because I've trained a lot of people just by watching them shooting and fixing
Yeah,
it. But now,
that's what I do as well. You first need to know the shooter, because everybody's different, and it's not because he's not in the right position that you say he has to be in, but he exactly copies it with a good result. That means it's the right position for him. Look at Mike
right,
Schlusser. He's like shooting like he's a sack of potatoes, we call it. Like he hangs back in his bow and like everybody, yeah, like you shouldn't shoot. And actually, the fun story about it, the story behind that position, because he had a
no, I don't.
perfectly good stance. This started with a prank in his shooting club, where I know where I've got some friends in as well. It started out as a prank. So he was like doing everything wrong, and every time he was going inner 10, like X, he's like, yeah, as long as I keep in the shooting tens, I'll just keep in this position. And yeah, look at Mr. Perfect now. He's still hanging around like a potato sack. So it works for him. And it all
Yeah.
started out as a prank. Like the reason why he has to hang back that far is like the prank was he was using all the weights of everybody on a stabilizing system. So his bow felt like a concrete block. And
Oh,
yeah, that's why if you have to carry his bow, it's like, what the hell, mate? Why? Why? But yeah, I don't have to say a lot. I've got a few bare bow weights on my compound as well. Yeah, 900 grams, almost a kilo. That's more than enough of extra weight on a bow.
yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, whatever it works. And you see a lot of them with the long stabilizer up front, and they have to have counterweights because it's just so front heavy.
Yeah.
And, you know,
But yeah, if it works for you, it works. Like stabilizers and weight, that's so personal.
right.
I really personally don't believe in the function of a stabilizer when you're shooting instinctive. I can have like 12-inch, but I use 5-inch just because, I don't feel the difference. As long as it's heavy enough, there's no difference.
Right. Yeah, I had on one bow that I had for kind of set up for doing 3D stuff on it because I had my hunting bow, and my stabilizer was about 3 inches long. No reason it was on there is to hold the sling.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't really set it,
True.
wasn't really set up for anything. I just kind of put it together. In fact, this last summer I finally changed the original string on it, and it's a 2003 bow.
That's
That's how that's how much I
straight.
shot it. Now my hunting bow, I've changed the strings a couple of times on that, and I finally got to it. It had broke, and I finally got to fixing it, and I got it fixed, and I still haven't finished setting it up, and I gotta get that ready for next hunting season. You know,
Yeah,
you get busy and working on other things, and you don't get to work on your own stuff.
yeah, true. I know that feeling. But yeah, lately I only been doing my own stuff and yeah, my shooting buddy, and that's it. And we're really concentrating on our own results, not on training people. But using what I learned, Derek, is that like, yeah, if you can learn from the big master, Johan van Dongen, you maybe heard of him. He's several times world champion, and the trainer of Mike Schlusser, the first trainer who really got Mike going. In Holland, he's like, yeah, kind of archery god, because in Holland, archery is pretty big. Yeah, if you can learn from somebody like that, like every time I was allowed to follow one of his training sessions with one of these top shooters, you put your mind in a record and just absorb. Right. And the thing I learned is like the less he says, the more he does. Like he says, if just a few key things you need to work on. Every time it's just one thing till that's perfect, and then we move on to the other one.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not because it looks perfect technically, it's because it works perfect for you.
Right.
And
yeah. When I teach, that's what I do.
Yeah. But a lot of shooting clubs and stuff like that, they don't do that with their youth, and that's why they stop shooting. It's not karate that we're doing archery.
Right. Yeah, I know when I teach, like I teach how I do it and why I do it that way, and then we modify it to fit you, because
that's what I do as well.
You have a different body than I do. What works for me may not work for you, and what works for you, I may not be able to do.
I've got different. In competitions a few times this year, people like walk up to me. I've been doing the same thing as you, and it doesn't work. Why? Yeah, because that's the way I shoot.
Yeah, well, do something different.
Yeah. People don't understand that I shoot in full movement. I don't stop. I'm going from under over the animal, and then I start descending, and I just know when to let go. That's in full movement. And it works for me. It's not conventional at all, but if it works, it works.
Yeah, I've seen a lady I watch on TikTok once in a while. She has a YouTube channel, and she does excuse me, that she does the same thing. She'll come up and she'll drop down and hit it, and and she'll take and stick CDs and shoot through the hole of CDs. She'll put
Yeah.
matches out and shoot matches. She's shooting at stuff that I don't think I could see to shoot at.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm probably 3 times your age too, but still.
Yeah, not a feeling.
Yeah. So as you get older, it's a little bit harder to see, and you a lot of people say, well, they're going out and shooting for 100-yard shots with a bow, and it's like, I can't see that far good enough to tell what the animal is, let alone to be able to shoot it. I'm not shooting those 100-yard shots because
No.
I'm lucky to be able to see the rack on a buck at that distance, let alone, where's the kill zone?
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I like about EFR. It's 55 meters. How many yards is that? It's about 70, 75 yards, I think.
Yeah, I don't know the conversion right off the top of my head.
It's about that distance. That's the maximum distance. And you only have to hit the 8 to get maximums.
Oh, yeah.
And the fun part is they always make groups with all the same bow types. So you're in direct competition always. So that's the fun part.
Yeah.
But yeah. The only thing I think is pretty hard is training your own kids. They all gave up archery thanks to that.
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, my kids did pretty good at listening to them, but I didn't force them into it, and they're all shooting pretty good. And yeah, I just looked up 75 meters is 82 yards.
80, yeah. And it's 55, so that's about 55 is the max. But actually, they're starting it's getting popular in the US as well. EFRR rules.
Yeah, that's 60 yards.
60 yards, yeah, that's the maximum distance. So that's still pretty feasible.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I've got a pin set up for, let's see, I think I got 4 or 5 pins on there, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60.
Yeah.
Although it's kind of tough for me to see that distance anymore, but
that's how I've got my pin set up as well. My hunting bow. But yeah, to hunt in this country is not easy. The part of the country where I live, it's illegal to hunt with a bow. So yeah, it's a bit. They're not hunting minded in Belgium. Let me say it in the nicest way.
Yeah, they're not too much up on allowing people to hunt, huh? Whether a bow or a rifle or
anything to do with a gun or a weapon. But actually, for Belgium law, a bow isn't a weapon.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's good, but stupid as well.
Well, yeah.
Any idiot can walk into a store and buy, for example, a crossbow without having to have a license or anything. But you can't even buy a .22 long rifle. That's illegal. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
Yeah. Fortunately, here we don't have quite that restrictions. They do have some stupid ones.
I think every country is bad, but over here, Europe, in comparisons, yeah, it's actually my job to be the asshole at border crossings.
Oh,
yeah. Sometimes it's like a double feeling.
Oh yeah. So you're a border guard then, huh?
No, I work for Belgium Railway, and
okay.
At the moment I'm based at the Channel Terminal for the trains that go to London, Brussels to London.
Oh, okay. So you're one of them that checks the stuff they're bringing on and in and out of the country
as well, and checking if there's no illegal immigrants in the train that want to get over to the UK, because for them it's the promised land. No, it's quite simple. In the UK, they're not that strict on who is working for you. They don't really check the papers. So once they make it to the UK, they can go, yeah, they can disappear in the underworld.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
here, it's harder, but yeah. It's like the border in the US between Mexico and Texas a bit. It's the same kind of game we play on trains.
Actually, right now, the border coming to the US from Mexico is it's completely open. You can just walk over and
You can walk over.
yeah.
For us, it looks like that part of the train station. It looks like it's been built, yeah, when the Iron Curtain was still up.
Oh.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, it's part of the wall they just put there. With
Yeah.
yeah, it looks like a jail, and still they get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
So archery is legal, but firearms is kind of
Oh
restricted.
God, no. Yeah, you need a hunting license. But yeah, that's the fun part. I've got a hunting license, so I'm allowed to have 35 firearms, hunting firearms. That means I can't have a rifle with more than 5 bullets in it. But it can be an AR with a small clip.
Oh,
I-
I actually bought a 10 round for mine just because when I'm at the range trying to sight it in, the 30 round sits on the table and it shoots it, jars it. So I bought a 10 just so I didn't have to deal with. I don't need 30 rounds to sight in. I'm using with
Oh.
3. I'm
Yeah.
loading it 3 at a time.
Yeah, and an AR is a pretty good gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, my favorite is I like the Blazer system. You in Belgium it counts like having one firearm because it's in the same serial number, but you have
Yeah.
several kinds of chambers. The chamber and the barrel is interchangeable for different bullet sizes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you one
Thompson
gun.
Center has some of those where you can change the barrel and
Yeah.
and depending on what you want to shoot, there's multiple calibers.
Like actually, they made it for France and Italy because you're allowed to have one long range weapon and one buckshot weapon without a license, and that way they can have like all the calibers they want in one gun under one license.
Well, there's always ways around it.
Oh, there's always, yeah. It's the same everywhere.
I know when they had the stupid gun control act that they passed in '68 because they were afraid of who knows what, and their definition of assault rifles, you have a bayonet attach a bayonet and a splash suppressor. So pre-ban it had them. Post-ban they took the connector off, the little tab on there to put a bayonet on and took the suppressor off. Like,
yeah,
same gun, no effect.
Same thing happened here. We had like in the 80s, I was at like a terrorist group that were assaulting, police forces, and they were trying to get them out by shooting up, by doing shootings in supermarkets. And they were using riot guns for that. So the riot gun got a really bad reputation. So what did they do? They banned it. But
Right.
they banned the riot gun, and it got, on paper it says a riot gun is a smooth barrel pump repetition buckshot rifle. But if you have like with a pull bore with rifling in, that's not a riot gun. That's allowed by law. It's just a hunting rifle.
Yeah. They just
Who
don't
comes up
understand.
with these ideas?
Well, and then everybody's paranoid of the guns and the bulletproof vest is designed to stop projectiles that are shot out of a gun, not a bow.
Nope.
You take a broadhead, it will not be stopped by bulletproof vest. You're going to go right through it, and unless they have the steel plate in there, then it's going to go through.
That's true.
In fact, I seen a video from, I'm thinking it was the late '60s, of the Army, U.S. military had a platoon that shot recurve bows.
Yeah, saw that.
And the video was a cardboard box with 2 cardboard separators filled with dirt. and they shot at it with a 45, which is, the 1911.
Mhm.
And it went through the outside box and it stopped before it got to the first dividing cardboard. Then they shot it with a carbine, 30 caliber carbine, and it went through the first section. And then they shot it with an M1 Garand, which is a 30-06.
Yeah.
And it penetrated, I think it penetrated through the second one, but never through the box. They shot it with a recurve, probably,
And it went straight through.
40, and it went through. The broadhead was sticking out probably 6 inches the other side of the dirt box.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, a few years ago with the Belgian Bowhunter Association, we had a request to the police to shoot at one of their vests. And at 25 meter, a normal, what is it, G5 blade, like these three-handed blades of G5, the basic one, just went through like it was butter on 25 meters, front in, backside out, went fully through. We got pretty quiet. When I put my vest on, I actually still think of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I seen a cop one time come and pick up somebody and they had a bow in their hand, and that cop was paranoid that they were going to do something with that bow.
And he should be.
Right. Yeah.
He should be.
Had no arrows in her hand, just the bow, but it's still paranoid.
Still, yeah. No, actually, for me, I was coming back one night from a competition, and I was stopped, just traffic stop. I think I was speeding a little bit. So they checked me and they asked me, like, do you have any weapons in the car? Like, yeah, I have and I saw on these guys, they were pretty nervous already. So yes. Yeah, the whole drill, hands out of the window, crawling off the car, patting down. Where is your weapon? Like, can you see that big case in the back? There's a bow inside. A bow isn't a weapon. That's a toy. Okay, thanks, boys. I'll be on my way. But yeah, how naive can you be?
Show him that video of the broadhead going through the box or going through the vest.
I didn't say anything. I was like, yeah, I know it's a colleague. Yeah. No, but yeah, how do you say that? I'm like, what we do is like security for the railroad police. My jurisdiction stops 15 meters from a train carriage, and that's where it ends.
Oh.
But yeah, and stations, of course. And at night, the scum of the earth comes out and lives in train stations.
Oh, yeah. You work any nights or just days, or?
As well, nights and days. It depends on what kind of shift you have. Yeah, if you have train yard, it's gonna be a busy day.
Yeah.
Especially in Brussels, any big city.
Yeah, any big city is going to have problems like that, and that's what's nice. Where I live, I live in a little bitty village, about 168 people. Is what sign says when you come in.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. No, I live as well in the pretty green area of the country, so I don't mind doing a 1 hour train drive every day to work. At least I can leave that spot.
Yeah.
It's fun to go there, but it's even more fun to leave it.
Yeah, if you're nature. Always in the city, then it's just you'll see pictures like, oh, it's a beautiful sight, and all you're seeing is the city. It's like,
yep,
no, that ain't a beautiful sight to me.
Actually,
I want to see forest.
In that way, Americans make me laugh a lot, because I see a lot of Americans every day, because they take the train when they visit Central Europe to England, and they do the Eurostar train.
Yeah.
And if you start talking to them, yeah, we visited Europe. And where were you? In Europe? Yeah, but Italy, Poland, that's all the same. No, it's not.
No.
No, it's not. Like, Europe can never be one country, because we're so different.
Oh yeah. Well, even here, in the United States, we're one country, but if you go down south,
Yeah, it's the
with
same
south
thing.
to east, southwest, northeast, northwest, in the Midwest, on the East Coast, West Coast, they're all different cultures,
Yeah.
and each area, a lot of times not, it's just in the same state, it's, the state is the same, but sometimes different parts of the state, like Texas is so huge, it takes you a day and a half to drive across it,
Hmm.
so you're going to have different cultures depending on where you're at. If you're over by Louisiana, you got one culture. You're over on the other coast, you're going to have different ones. And
And that's what makes Belgium so typically Europe, because we're a small country. We're about as big as the state of New York, our country. And we have three different cultures, three different language cultures in that itty bitty country. And they all have their own parliament.
oh,
And if they want
geez.
to have anything done nationally, they all have to agree.
So
Oh,
nothing gets done.
there you go. We're
That
just like,
sounds like a good system, because
yeah,
over here we get
we're,
too
we're
much
just,
done.
the only luck we've got is like Brussels is the capital of Europe and we're really central. And that's about it. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's, it makes like for an eclectic mix. And that makes it beautiful as well.
Yeah. There's a lot, I said, look at the city is, it's not, my idea of a good site, but there's a lot of unique structures that are really cool to look at. But
Yeah,
just as an over picture that overlooking the city, I'd rather overlook the forest, because I'm
me
more
too.
likely,
Me
I'm gonna
too.
enjoy being in the forest, not in the city. And
Me
um,
too.
you
This
know,
the thing that annoys us here, because yeah, where I live is right next to a national park. What annoys us here is like city folk that come do holidays over here and telling us how we should act in nature.
eh,
Like, what the hell, dude? Yeah, and they want to do archery and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's people here doing archery experience with those people, and it, I think I hope it's not going to destroy our sports because the amount of carbon arrows I already found just laying around, like, and that just yeah, I hope it's not going to make it harder on us to have like a terrain to have our competitions on because that's already a tough part for the
yeah,
green movement.
yeah. I always figure, if you go to another country or another city or another state, don't try and bring your ideas in. It's like,
No,
I want to learn, if I go over and travel, see you, I don't, I don't want to, what I've done in the past. I want to learn what you're doing, because I'm going to learn.
yeah,
Um, you know, I,
that's why
I,
that's why the most of our competitions are in the French speaking part of Belgium because they're not that strict on yeah green wise. And the fun part is anywhere you go, you see a different way of shooting. I like going to Germany and Holland and France to do competitions there because it's the same. It's something you know, it's something you feel right with, but it's totally different at the same time as well. And that's the fun
right,
part of it. And archers, doesn't matter what language you speak, you've got always find a way to communicate. It's like,
right.
yeah, universal language.
Yeah. And I've said it before, it seems like, uh, if I'm walking down the street and you have a bow in your hand, you're automatically a friend. We're going to come up and we're going to
Yeah.
start talking archery. You
Yeah,
know, if we can
absolutely.
speak the same language, fine. If not, you know what? I get out my phone and then I
We'll
know what
find a
language
way
you're
to
speaking. So I'll
communicate.
type it as
Yeah.
translate to French or translate to German or whatever it is. And then it's like, okay, and then I'll show it to you. It's like, yeah, and then you can answer back,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
have one you can record. And
Yeah. We really wish there was more people from the US and stuff coming over for these IFAs over here, especially when it's like world championships. Like this year, I'm not going myself because I can't go anywhere if I'm not going to win. And I know there's no possibility this year. I'm not ready. So I'm not going to Finland to get eaten by mosquitoes, not to win.
Oh, but you would learn a lot though.
Yeah, I would, but yes, I know the hassle and all the things that go around going to a big tournament, a 2 week tournament. I know how that goes. Not afraid of it, but still, when I'm go European Championship in Austria next year, that's my goal.
Yeah, sometimes you have to kind of plan which one you go to, you know, because it's not
Yeah,
cheap going to these tournaments.
that's also true. And yeah, also you should look at your own progression. I'm progressing quite good, but still about 50 points off the world record, which is my goal for next year. And it should be feasible if I see my progression, and there's still a lot of progression possible. So yeah. And that's what helps if you're training with somebody who's experienced in that category. He's
Right.
like, yeah, because sometimes you want to go over the limit when you're thinking of open compound with visor and everything, and it's a different ball game. You need to think different with this instinctive. Yeah.
Yeah, I always find depending what weapon you have in your hand, your mental state changes.
Yep.
You know, if I have a recurve in my hand, my mental state changes. I'm not looking for a peep sight. I'm going back, drawing, get to my anchor point, and and then releasing. I get a compound in my hand and I draw back. Okay, I got the kisser button, I got the nose, and I got the anchor point, and I got the sights and everything else. And for me, I can't shoot a compound instinctively because I pick up the compound. My mind says this is a compound
Yeah.
weapon, not a recurve. I shoot it differently. And
That's what I thought about it as well. But I really, if you've got a chance and you've got an old compound laying around, just get everything off it and shoot it with a regular recurve tab, 3 fingers underneath, and just your arrow just needs to be straight, completely straight, no top,
right.
no, just straight, and you'll see it's fun.
Yeah, all my bows are too short of draw length, or
Uh,
too short of axle. Even when I had a longer one, I had to go to release because my ring finger would go numb
yeah,
as I'm drawing back. There's so much pressure on it,
yeah.
and now the bows are shorter. And
That's actually my problem as well with my shoulder, with my frozen shoulder. My fingers were going numb just by opening, and with a compound, I don't have that problem because of the let off. And you just cheekbone, put your tap underneath, and that's where it goes.
yeah, as long as you have a consistent anchor, then you can do that. And unless you want
Yeah.
to try that string walking stuff, that I feel
Uh,
that's too much thinking.
that's black magic.
It works really good for those that want to figure it out, but
Yeah, but Jesus, no, that's too much. No, my wife is quite good at it, but she that's what I don't get. She normally they anchor as well here, but she's still the old recurve, so she anchors here without a visor, and she uses the arrow as a aiming tool. Is that barebow? In my eyes, it isn't. But she gets quite good results, and she's within the rules. So
you're within the rules. It doesn't matter, right?
no, but yeah, still we do a special middle serving on our bow. So for her, exactly 0 points, like bunny distance, like within 5 meters, it's the end of the serving. And then you just have to walk up millimeters to get your distance
Oh.
right.
Yeah,
Everybody has like his own little niche in that kind of archery. There's nobody who has like something standard on there. It's impossible.
yeah. And you could even tie, a little bitty serving knot around a different spot if you wanted something and identify, okay, this is my exact, and
The
the serving
accidental
one.
not in the serving.
Yeah. And then, okay, where's it at in your finger? And,
Yeah.
is it the tip or the
They
bottom,
all
the
use
middle?
the
Where's it
system. They
at? You
all use
can
the
feel all
system.
those. And
In my eyes, it's not really cheating. Everybody has a system. The first one who says it's, yeah, who's shooting a barebow type and doesn't use a system, yeah, he's bound to lose.
Right. It'd only be cheating if you went up and you stuck the arrow in the target by pushing it in.
If it's within the system. I've got people in my category that do face walking.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's hard because I tried it. I mean, height wise, where the arrow ends, that's quite a good system. But you've got so much left right difference because of the angle your eye is pointing on your arrow. I just don't see the point, or I just have like a real crooked face.
Yeah, your cheekbone comes out and then it goes in. So if you're anchoring up here, you're out, and then you move in. So now you're moving in. And how do you account for that? That's
no, it's not my system.
That just sounds like that'd be a whole lot of chance of making bad shots.
Yep, that's how I think about it. Just the KISS principle, keep it simple.
Right. Yeah, that's a good principle to use and on everything. Keep it simple, man.
Keep it simple. And that's why in my mind, the guys that shoot like with these visors with 6x scope in it and stuff like that, in my eyes, that's just looking for things to blame when it doesn't work.
Oh yeah. I try to clarify for people at times so I could, see through a little bit better. It didn't help at all.
No.
You get where I can see the pin, great. I can't see past it.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to hit? If you're looking at the pin, you're not aiming. You're just looking at the pin.
Yeah.
You got to look at the target, put the pin over it. And it's like I had to go to a larger peephole in my bow because I couldn't see through the small ones anymore.
Yeah, I did the same thing also with a clarifier, but my clarifier, if I actually play with my glasses, if I've got my glasses on, the pin is like a really small little red haze I've got, like a red dot sight.
Yeah.
And I've got 8x scope on there, and that's really clear. And if I take my glasses off, it's the pin that is really in focus.
Oh, yeah.
So I can play a bit with it. Like, when you're shooting FITA targets, I don't need to see what I'm shooting. I just need to see that yellow haze, and that's it.
Yeah, just center the yellow, you pin in the yellow haze. And I know when I was in high school, I shot on a rifle team, and my front sight, we had peep sights in there, and the front was just a round disc with a hole in it. And it was clear. Some have a little metal thing, and mine was just a clear disc that fits in there. So I take down at the target, the dot I'm shooting at fits perfectly inside there with a little bitty white ring around it, from the paper. So I could just center that ring in there. And I didn't have to have a clear because I see that little ridge of that clear plastic had a little bit of a ridge in there that you could see that ridge as long as you line it up where it's evenly spaced. And we're shooting with 22 caliber, rifles. And
22 caliber, I wish I could own one. I'm not allowed. I can own a 50 cal, but not a 22.
That's weird.
Because in the hunting license, you're not allowed to have like center percussion ammunition. Like you only are allowed to have center percussion, not sight percussion like a 22.
Yeah, the rimfire on a 22. Yeah,
rimfire is illegal for it to own.
Well, if you're hunting like rabbits and stuff like that, that'd be all right. But if you're hunting any bigger game, then that's the only we can hunt here is
but
rabbits.
The real funny part is, these PCP guns, they're getting quite powerful, really powerful, and they have several shots as well you can do.
Right.
There's no limit on it. You can buy them from your 16th in Belgium. There's no law on it.
Oh.
So you're allowed to buy that.
Well, there's some of those air rifles that are getting really good. And then have you seen the one at the bow that's powered by CO2 cartridge?
Yep.
I was like, it's supposed to be pretty good. I've seen them. I haven't ever shot one, but
I tried with an old PSE compound. You know, these 22 air rifle barrels you can put on.
Right.
Works with a piston on your string. I tried that, but actually I was quite under oppressed of it. It's like there's not much power coming out of that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, really weak 22 air rifle. So yeah, I was hoping a bit more. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be way more fun shooting 22s out of a bow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
because
cheaper as well.
they think of bows are toys, so now you're just shooting toys.
Yeah, it's my toy gun.
Yeah, a toy
It's
gun.
in front of it if you want to try. uh, it's so funny. Yeah, the vision what people see as being dangerous or not. In my eyes, with my job, a potato peeler knife or you know, these throwaway knives you can break off.
Yeah.
Those things are dangerous. They kill. That's what people who do really nasty stuff have with them, not the nice dagger with diamonds on it. And
Oh yeah.
don't see those very much. But those, yeah, little mean, normal looking things, they're dangerous.
Yeah, the little box cutters.
Yep. I'm afraid of a box cutter. Yeah. And people are dangerous. Just the person that's holding it.
Yeah. Well, and like anything else, that box cutter can sit on that table for decades until it rusts away to nothing, and it will never hurt anybody until somebody picks it up.
Yeah. Yeah. With
It's
bad
not the
intention.
item, it's the person.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what, yeah, we've got in the evening hours, all the, junkies and hobos enter the station to get a warm night. We call it when the zoo's open. That's our
Yeah.
term for it. Zoo just opened. It's feeding time again.
Yeah. Well, if they just come in and just to be warm and not cause problem, that's one thing. But
They cause
you know,
problems.
they cause problems, and that's
Yep.
when you got to step in and throw them out.
Yep. Yeah. Or just defense.
Yeah.
It depends. Sometimes for some, a warning is more than enough, usually. And yeah.
Yeah.
The beard helps as well.
Yeah. Makes you a little meaner, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'm the evil beard they already call me, so that's a good reputation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a couple times, when I job I was doing, you had to do a little discipline sometimes when I worked in skating rink, I was at the floor guard.
Yeah.
And they tell you your first day there, you be the biggest hole in be mean to everybody, because that's the most you'll have control. And then after that, you can do whatever you want to do. I was never mean, but hey, you break the rules, you're done.
Yeah,
go
that's
sit
true.
down. Go sit down for a while.
They try the same thing. They try to pick a fight, and then you just like, and also your colleagues, they like kind of pull back the first time and goes on. Like they want to see as well what kind of meat they've got. And yeah, just give somebody a bit of flying lessons, and then you've got your reputation.
Well, and that's what's nice when you learn a martial art, that you have some techniques that can inflict pain but not damage.
And also one thing you should remember, we're like, in the UK, the bobbies, the unarmed police officers, we just have a pepper spray. That's it. We don't even have a bat. And tactical gloves.
Just spray and gloves, huh?
Yep. And somebody that is high, you can use as much spray as you like. It's like putting on deodorant.
Yeah, they
But a
don't
fire
feel it anyway.
extinguisher works good as well.
Oh yeah.
Just make sure when you're in a big station or something, that's one big tip I give out to everybody. And you feel not really happy, let me say it like that. You feel a bit threatened. make sure you stand next to a fire extinguisher because that's the biggest pepper spray they ever made.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it can be on anything. It works good.
Well, it's designed to cut oxygen, so you spray them in the face and they can't breathe while they're doing
These
it.
powder ones, they block the eyes as well.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually gave that as a tip to my daughter. If you really feel like when you're in a big station, you feel tense, you don't feel well, stand next to the fire extinguisher. You're the best armed person in that station.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
that and a little self-defense training helps if you keep up with it and learn it.
Yeah. We train every week, so yeah, as we should.
Yeah. Oh, that's your only weapon is
And also
that.
keeps me younger.
Yeah. I know I studied Hapkido for about 20 years and
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a while, but you know what? I still got some of them techniques in my mind. I still know how to do it.
It's like riding a bike. Once you know it, it's like becomes second nature. That muscle training never goes away.
Yeah. And there's some pressure points that you can do that inflict major pain, but it don't hurt them. Other than
No.
the pain. When the pain goes away, it goes away.
Yeah. My problem is I've got a Muay Thai background, so it hurts.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to use what you can use, and,
Yeah, that's true.
A good swift kick to the thigh is always a good weapon.
Yeah. Just make sure the shoulder hits the ground first, not the face.
Yeah. You don't want your face to hit the ground.
No, I don't want to get into trouble as well. Like it's like everywhere in the world. It's first thing people yell. They don't know what's happening. They stick their mobile phones up, and the story gets all twisted.
Oh yeah, because they don't know how it's starting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the first guy that takes the swing. It's the second guy.
Yeah, and they usually film the second guy.
What's nice is when they step and then you can just sweep them out. Boom! They fall on the ground. It's like, huh? How did he get there? You get back, come at you, duck, throw them again.
Yeah,
but the old hip throw works nice.
There's cameras everywhere, and you really have to think, can I do this now? Is this okay? But yeah, it should be like that as well, because there should be a clear line.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to become the aggressor. It's when they're down on the ground, unless it's your job to contain them.
And when I see with colleagues, everybody knows that feeling. That's the 5th time you threw that guy out of the station that day, and every time he tries again, because every time he goes to the station, they have to let him go, give him a paper that he has to leave the country in 3 days, and that's it. Doesn't matter what he did.
Oh.
So you get kind of frustrated, and if it's the 5th or 6th time that day, I kind of understand why some people get a beating.
Yeah. Well, I know sometimes it's kind of fun playing with them too. I know my brother had a hog roast one time. I used to have them quite a bit, and I'd go over there because I don't drink, so I'd be sober. And with a few years martial arts training, I was kind of the bouncer, and kind of the guard for that, in case somebody got in trouble. And this one guy one time got drunk, was going to ride his motorcycle home.
Oh yeah,
drunk on a motorcycle. That's an accident waiting to happen.
Yep.
So my other brother, the older of the two, took his keys, so he couldn't drive home. Well, he swung at my brother and hit him, knocked his glasses off. Well, I'm surprised my brother just didn't beat the crap out of him then, but he didn't. It's like, okay, that's cool. So then it's like, okay, because my other brother, the younger one, he worked on motorcycles, Harleys. The only thing he works on is Harleys, and that's not unusual for him to have $100,000 worth of motorcycles in his garage. So he says, we'll bring your bike in the garage, and it'll be safe. You can come get it tomorrow. And so, okay, so he wanted to go back and see his bike. So we're going back there. And of course, it's like, going back, I was going to follow him. No, he wanted me to lead. Not going to happen.
No.
So no, I'm not going in front of you. You're going in front. And it's like, no, no. Finally, I just like, okay. I was like, I've had it. I'm done. I'm not talking no more. And I
Yeah.
dropped him. And then, so now I've got him down. I got my hand on his throat, not squeezing him, just holding him in place. And he's trying to swing. And and I'm laughing. And like, I'm having fun. It's like, this guy's, he can't even come close to hit me. He's so drunk. The other guy comes up and says, "You need help?" No, I just need to quit laughing. So then I finally stand him up and turn him around. And then he don't stand up. So of course, arm around the neck. I stand him up and his buddies come. And it's like, nope, down he went again. Because he didn't cooperate. So then his finally Buzz come, took him home, and then, of course, the next day, he was drunk, come back and polished to my younger brother, and brother shook his hand. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, his shoulder hurt. He was drunk. I cranked on it to lock it up and throw his ass down, and it was sore.
Yeah.
Like my brother said, if
You
I'd
don't
known
need
that,
to
I
do
shook
much
harder.
for a shoulder to be sore. It's
No.
quite.
And
Oh, I just came in. Just finished work. Just came in.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's when some of the joint locks, you lock your arm up and you
Yes.
can throw them with it. You can break it if you wanted, but hey, once you break it, you can't use it.
No.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on a lot of techniques.
Actually,
They're useless.
That's what I'm really afraid of when we train handcuffing. I'm actually afraid of being a participant in that because, shoulder injuries for us archers, that's like, a death sentence.
Well, and if they're resisting, that's one thing. But if they're just tight, and being in martial arts, you'll be able to tell somebody's tight or resisting. And if they resist, then just drop them down and do it. Otherwise, put 2 sets on.
Yeah. With handcuffing, if somebody's resisting, he's going to be in pain. Anyhow, and I don't want to play that guy that resists. These teachers, they've got these nice ideas. Yeah, you're going to be the guy that doesn't want to get caught. Okay. That means my colleagues can beat me up. Yeah, that's about it. But archery wise, actually that hyper focus, what you learn with archery, you can use in any job, in any situation. It's like shot rifles from when I was really young, 6 years old for Europe. That's really soon. My parents were into guns and anything, weapon wise. Why? My father was an officer in the police, and they carried in that time their firearm 24 hours a day with them. They were always armed. So we had always had guns in the house, loaded guns. So, and I think my father was right. He taught me how to shoot at a young age. And I never did anything stupid with a firearm since, because if you don't do stupid shit. That's the problem. You see these kids shooting each other out of stupidity. It's the parents' mistake. If you have guns in the house, your kids need to be able to use them.
Yeah, and all my kids knew how to use the guns. They knew where they were all at.
Yeah,
now, they were in cases locked up with padlock on there. I didn't lock them up because of my kids. I locked them up because they're friends.
Yeah, same thing here.
My kids knew where the key was to the lock.
Yeah,
it's the same lock I use on everything. So it's the same key. So they knew where the key was to get into it, but I knew they would never get into it. But I didn't trust their friends, so they were all my long guns are always locked up. My handguns, the time I didn't have that many, they were all in briefcases. I had a Samsonite briefcase, and there was only one key for it, and it was always on my key ring. In fact, it's still on my key ring. But so they couldn't get into those. But when they were young, I'd get them out and let them handle it. Teach them how to check for clear, and let them handle, get used to it. So it's like, okay, no big deal. There's all my kids.
Yeah, a bow, a gun, anything that shoots. It's like, that's not the weapon is the person using it. That's what makes it lethal. And and over here, in my garden, I can't shoot firearms because there's too many houses around. I would have my colleagues from the district really fast at my door.
Yeah.
With this beard, they maybe get wrong ideas. But yeah, I've got my archery range in the garden. I'm lucky to be able to have that. Just yeah,
Yeah.
that's in Belgium. It's something special if you have a garden where you can shoot in. Most houses have like small gardens.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a target out back where I can shoot. I don't shoot a lot there. I shoot inside of my garage, but there is houses on
Yeah.
the other side. So
Yeah.
if something went over it, so I don't do a lot of shooting there, but I can shoot. Now for guns, I'd have to go a little ways away to shoot.
Yeah, same thing here.
About a mile away, I can go down to the field where we hunt and shoot. We can go down the creek. It's not unusual around here to hear guns shooting.
Yeah.
And my only thought is, because I reload, they're like, can I have your brass? I'm not worried about them shooting. So, there's a couple different directions. I hear gunshots, all the time. They're out there shooting. And my thoughts are, hey, I want your brass.
Yeah.
If you don't reload, give me your brass. I'll reload it.
Yeah, that's like my wife, for example. Because I'm always in Brussels. If I hear like police sirens or firefighters or something, I don't even notice them anymore. Because like in Brussels, it's like 24/7 noise you hear. You don't even know where it's coming from. It's like a constant. She's like, don't you want to know what happened? Like, if I wanted to know every time I hear that noise, what happened, my head would explode probably. But yeah, it's like that says enough. It's just what you're used to in your environment. If I would shoot one of my guns here in the garden, I bet you it doesn't take 10 minutes and the cops are here, at least with 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah.
Because it's so uncommon. We hear them in the nature reserve when they're doing we've got a big infestation of wild boar, and when they're trying to take care of that, which will never help. Because once they're there, they got a bright idea. They introduced a wolf where I live. I actually see they've been extinct for over 180 years over here, and all of a sudden we've got wolves. So they've been introduced with the bright idea that they were going to take care of the wild boar problem. No, they don't. They just take care of local people's ponies and sheep.
Right.
He's not going to mess with the wild boar.
No. The boar is going to take out take them out. They're not the apex predator when it comes to those two.
And that's what I mean. In Belgium, all the hunting grounds get smaller and smaller and smaller because everybody, like, for example, you buy a house and it has a big garden with a bit of woods on it. You can go to the city office and have it like illegal to hunt on those grounds. So it's a patchwork of nothing. It's actually quite hard to do hunting over here, thanks to that. And they do like television campaigns, how for telling you how you need to do that. These, environmental organizations, they want to ban hunting completely.
Oh yeah. And then they introduce wolves and stuff like that to control a population that you could have hunted and provided meat for everybody,
Yeah, and then they get pissed off because their kid's pony got eaten by a wolf. Yep.
Yeah.
I think, it depends on whose pony is going to get eaten, I think. But that's the same all over the world.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's all the same.
No. But yeah, that's what I mean. Archery is global. We all have the same kind of shit as well. Everywhere.
Well, archery, one of my podcasts, I did history in archery and doing research, I found it's like 64,000 years old. They found evidence for 64,000 years ago. They found evidence of archery. And
that means it's pretty good technology if it's still up to date.
Yeah. Well, and then what sport has been around for that long?
None.
No.
None. And that's also what I tell a lot of people who start shooting instinctive. Is like, stop thinking in distance and start trusting your inner feeling, because we know this shit when we're born. It's in our DNA. Just got to listen to that little voice inside, like where you need to, how you, when you need to let go. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
Well, and then
Drop
one
down
thing,
on the target and
well, one thing that helps too is like give them a baseball and go back and
yeah,
stand about 20 yards. Like, okay, throw it to me. And
yeah,
they throw it to us like, okay, now here's the target. Go throw it at that target. Now do the same thing with the bow. There's no difference.
there's no
You look
difference. No,
you look where you want it to go and you
that
learn how to throw it. Now, start off with, you're not going to be very good because you don't have the timing of when to let go and how to let go. And yeah, oh, that's archery. You're not
yeah.
very good at starting because you don't know when and how to let go.
I
And
think
where
you've
to
got. I think you had the same feeling with shooters. You start with somebody and you know after like he shot 20 arrows, that's going to be a good one.
yeah,
Or I hope he's got he wants to train for it, because there's people who just have too much talent. I know a few of them. They're just too talented and they don't train, and they get stuck on a certain level. And the one that isn't that talented but trains his ass off usually gets where he needs to be.
right. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody
Talent.
with the talent and skill to do it just don't want to put the work in to get above a certain level. And when I was in high school, we had one guy on a rifle team. He'd come in and he'd shoot um, almost perfect scores all the time in prone, and then he was really good shot, but he'd never come down and practice.
Yeah.
We kicked him off the team. We don't need
Mm-hmm.
somebody that comes down once in a while. Of course, shoots really good, but we need somebody that's willing to put in the time and practice with the rest of us. We're a
Yeah.
team. It's not an individual sport. Like archery, it's an individual sport, but yet it's still a team.
True.
Whether you're competing together or a group of you're competing for something, or the whole team is going. It's a whole team, even though you have to individually shoot, just like any sport. Each person has their own individual task, but the whole team.
Yeah.
And it just makes a lot more fun when they're around to help out. And when I'm some of the sports I've done, uh, just being around somebody that's better than me, I was always better.
Yeah. I
you
know.
know
Yeah.
it's just something about when somebody was there better than you. I competitively roller skated, and I did the arts and the dance and speed is kind of where I kind of migrated to. A lot more fun. But when I was doing the other stuff, somebody out there really good skater doing all this stuff, I'm looking at them, I'm inspired what they're doing, so I'm better when they're around because I'm learning from them. And the same thing, in archery, when you're
Same.
somebody that's shooting really good, it's like, okay, I'm doing this. Well, what are they doing? And then you look at what they're doing. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm doing something different. And
Yeah. But yeah,
I
and then you have to like pick and choose what works for you, what doesn't. Like, that's the hard part. Like, some people, they really observe other shooters that shoot well good, but they want to be like 100% carbon copy of them, and that just doesn't work. And that's
no,
what I had in the shop a lot. These people that really got frustrated because like they were doing like everything they saw on YouTube. Like, yes, but it doesn't work for you.
most of the stuff on YouTube is either incorrect or they're not teaching you what you really need to learn. And that's why I start out, uh, when somebody comes in shooting a bow, I'm talking to them a little bit, and I can decide pretty quick whether or not I'm even going to help them.
Yeah, I know
Because
that feeling.
lots of times you've probably seen this too. A lot of guys have this in their head that they know what they're doing. You can't tell me
Yeah.
nothing.
Yep. Their ego is
Ladies,
twice the size of them.
yeah. Now, ladies, on the other hand, a lot of them, they're going to listen to you and they're going to pay attention to what you're telling them,
That's
and they're
why
going
they're
to do it.
usually better than the man.
Yep. And it pisses the guys off every time.
Yep.
You know,
Because they put in the effort. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Because men usually come in, yeah, I call it the alpha male type.
right.
They're going to show you what archery is really like because they never done it before. It's kind of yeehaws. It's always fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. Then when you get the people that want to learn, I'm going to spend as much time as I can with you. And, that's one of the things too that the Arch Talk 101 Facebook group, which you're a member of as well.
Thank you.
Not very long, but, when I first was building it, I'd look at other groups and they'd say, okay, how's my form? And people would answer, well, practice more.
Yeah, it's not always the answer.
Completely wrong answer. Because if you're doing it wrong, you're not going to get any better by doing it wrong more.
You're going to get worse.
I tell them, say, hey, join this group, upload a video. We're going to critique it. I've been an archery instructor since '95, so I've taught a lot of people how to shoot. I became a bow tech in 2001 when I bought my archery store. Went down and spent a week down in Tucson, Arizona at the PSE dealer school. Learning everything from, we tore bows apart. There's no two pieces together, completely parts, and assembled them. Reserved center servings, making strings, making cables. Back in the day, they used steel cables. And that was an art in learning how to make those cables. And now if you have a bow with a cable on it and it breaks, yeah, there's not much you're going to do. You're going to have to find somebody who's willing to put in some work and do something different to make it into when you put strings on it, because you're not finding them. And if you did, you're probably a couple $100 a piece. And you got to have two of them. Back then they were like $20. I could get a pair of them, a pair of cables. But now, or find somebody that still has some cables left that's willing to sell them to you.
Yep.
Or make them.
My ex-boss, he was like, every old store that went bankrupt or something, he bought the old stock, especially these steel cables and stuff, new old stock. He's got a bunch of it, but he's pretty well known about it. But the prizes, Jesus.
Oh yeah,
they know their prizes.
Because you're not getting another one.
No.
If you have 5 sets, that's 5 people you can sell to, and then there is no more.
That's like my personal dream bow. I know it's a piece of crap, but it's still a dream bow. Is to do like compound bear bow shooting. Is an Onyeda. They look like a recurve, but they've got this cable system inside. In my eyes, that's like the perfect bow for my type of competition.
Yeah, and they have those quite a bit over here.
Over here, if you try finding one younger than 15 years old, and it's 500 euros, so about $550 US, you found a cheap one. There's probably not be much good on it. That's good for a complete rebuild. So that's
I had one guy that had come in the store and he shot Leonidas all the time. And in fact, he was one of them that they would allow do warranty work. He didn't work for him. He just shot him for years. And he had his jig set up. He could draw it back, stick it in there, do all his work on it, and put the string on, pull it back, and he had it all set up. He could tear those down and really quick and rebuild them. And
well, I know some people who shoot with them, and they're not doing great. Let me say it that way. And I'm just wondering, is it the bow or is it the archer? In my eyes, it's more the bow, because I know them from other categories that they did do well in. But just like in my eyes, they're slow. Arrow speed wise. But that's the other thing with IFA. It's easier to use an old bow because they're slow enough. You can play more with your arrows.
Oh yeah.
Because we don't have like a maximum poundage you're allowed to have. It's a maximum arrow speed. 300 feet per second. That's the maximum arrow speed.
Yeah, they have one of those. I forget which one it is now, that they have a arrow speed. You can't go over a certain speed of arrow.
But if you're using a modern bow, I mean, from later than 2020, you're going to have a hard time keeping underneath that arrow speed because these new compounds are just crazy. If you look at the Matthews TRX, for example, Jesus, a 40-50 on 48 pounds does with, I think you still know those arrows, Lightspeeds, Easton Lightspeed. It's a pretty old arrow, but a really lightweight arrow with 100 grains points. It does just about 290, so ideal for IFA. But that's on 48 pounds.
Yeah.
I personally, I shoot prime, so that's a bit of a lazy boy. It's quite lazy bow. In 2016, prime 1. And yeah, 52 pounds, and I'm at 395, something like that. So I really have to watch out if I'm at altitude to tune my bow down, because otherwise I'm over the limit.
Yeah. I know my 2001 PSE Carrera, it was rated at 320 feet per second.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But I don't get that out of it because my hunting bow, I have a little bit heavier arrow in it. That's another whole story I went into on why they're a little bit heavier than my rest of my arrows. But I shoot 70 pounds. I don't shoot 30-inch draw length. I shoot 29. So that's going to drop it down a little bit. And then I have a loop on there. I have a kisser button. I have a peep on there. And I have string leeches on there to quiet it down. So I'm not getting anywhere near the 320.
No.
Now, I'm below 300. It's been a while since I chronoed it, but it was, right in that, 380, 390. But, that's my hunting bow. So I don't care what speed is. I just want to shoot good.
The reason why I like really light shafts is because you can have like all your kinetic energy in the tip, and it pulls the arrow better. It gives you a straighter flight if you're shooting instinctive, because it's like a heavy weight pulling your feathers in the back, and the rest doesn't really matter. And it just needs to be stiff enough. But I shoot 4 feathers as well because of that. Stabilizes really fast. And started doing that as a joke because Michael Gilligan was doing it. I just wanted to see if it worked, and it did work.
Yeah, well, I shoot 3 fletch. I still shoot 4-inch feathers, even on my compounds. I just like, back in the 60s, the option was feathers or feathers, and wood or wood, and either fiberglass or carbon for bows. So I grew up with wood and 4-inch feathers or 5-inch feathers, depending on what it was. But I just a 5-inch on new compounds just is a little overkill. But on recurve, a lot of recurve shooters up where you shoot 5-inch feathers.
Yeah, I shoot. Oh, what is it? It's a pretty big vein as well. From boning, it's called the Zen. It's actually a vein used on aluminium arrows, these 23s. That's what it's supposed to be for indoor competitions. But for me, it breaks the arrow just enough and gives a good stability. Because that's why I use a big feather. There's like people shooting with these 1.75-inch feathers, these really tiny ones. Yeah. They're making rockets. That's not an arrow. It's a rocket.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's nice about archery is you can play with where you take your bow and try different different systems, and whether you're using aluminum or using wood or carbon. Now, with compounds, you're not going to use wood, but
no,
they don't work very well.
No, I don't think it's a smart idea.
You might get one shot out of them. Well, you will get one shot. It's just where how many pieces the arrow ends up in.
Well, it depends. I know some people in Holland, like in Holland, there's competitions. You can only shoot wooden arrows, just for people with wooden arrows. And I know some people who shoot the same category as me that actually compete there, but with really heavy spine arrows. Like, the stuff you use on a English war bow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see the point in it. Like, it's like hanging a parachute on behind a carbon arrow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, it's been real great talking to you.
same thing here.
I enjoy talking to archers all over the world, and
Yeah,
it's
and if people have questions, what all this blank compound is about, like instinctive combo shooting, I would say if you have questions, they're always ready. I'm always ready to answer them. And I would say, just if you have an old compound, why not try it? It's
right.
something
Yeah.
fun. It's like you can compare it with what they do in the US, the archery fishing. That's the same feeling of shooting. Just
Yeah.
relaxed.
Yeah. Well, the whole key is just get out and do some shooting. And
Yeah, as long as you enjoy it, that's the whole thing. We're not going to get rich by it.
no,
We're not playing
no.
soccer or driving fast cars. We're just shooting bows.
There are a few that can make a living doing it, but
Yeah,
there are not many of them. It takes a lot
there's
of
not
work, a lot of
many of them.
dedication, and you
Yep,
know, then if you have, if you have an injury, get sick, then yeah, no money coming because
no money coming in.
there's
You know, over here, with you guys in the US, at least you got like shacks for competitions. We can have like in a good competition, you get 2 bottles of wine, not one when you won.
oh
That's about the prizes we've got.
yeah, that gets expensive. Going there
Yeah,
and getting a couple bottles of wine is all you get.
yeah. Pretty. It's not cheap wine, let me say it that way.
Oh
Because
yeah,
you spend a lot of money just for a bottle of wine. But yeah, that's when it's for me, I really don't care. It's actually the money makes it, I think, takes the fun out of sports as well.
yeah,
I
it's
see that I see such a mentality difference if I look at the videos of, for example, these big money tournaments in the US or the European competition. Yeah, the friendship it's different. There's no money playing in it.
yeah,
I'm
because
not gonna say I
that's
don't
like
want to make money by shooting, but yeah, there should be.
it's more like a job then.
Yeah, I think you lose a lot of the fun because you have to.
Yeah, when you don't win, then you don't get any money, and then that's how you're trying to live, and it's I think if you had you had some of the investments that pays your living, and
That would
now
be a
then
different story.
now then you don't have to. If you make money, great, that's extra money. If you don't make any money, you're going there for the fun, and the benefit of the fun is getting a paycheck at the end of the day, instead of
Yeah,
like, okay, this is how I'm living. If I don't get a paycheck, then I what am I going to do for the next time?
that's true. The only reason I really want to do good in the European Master is it's quite simple. I want to find a brand that just where I can use 2 bows a year from. That's about it. That's what I had before as sponsoring. And then you're a well sponsored guy because over here, when you get like 30% off in a store, you're a sponsored shooter.
Oh,
No, no, but yeah, that's where I shoot for at the moment. That's the only thing that, yeah, the fun and maybe getting some new toys, making sure my hobby is paid like that. But
yeah, that's always fun when you can get new toys, and I'm still
yeah,
using old toys.
yeah, I notice I'm even when I try the new ones, I'm always getting back to these old favorites. Like, yeah, Prime One. That's yeah, at youngest 2016. Still love that thing.
Yeah. Well, my hunting bow is a 2001, and my other bow was a 2003.
Yeah, doesn't
So
matter if it works. It works. Why change a winning team?
yeah, I have another bow that I got when I worked at Cabela's for a while. It was one of those returns that needed a string and needed some other repairs on it, and $900 bear in the snow camo, and I forget what the model number was, but I haven't even set it up. I did make new strings for it and fix it. That's as far as I went. I didn't put a rest on it, and that's probably a 2016, 17 bow, something like that.
Yeah, but then you notice the type of aggression in these new bows. They're so much more aggressive. They punish you at the smallest detail, that you get really punishment. But yeah, I did the same thing. I still have my list there. My ex-boss still has my little blacklist. If that comes in left-handed, I'm the first one he's calling, because if somebody buys a new bow and they turn in the old one, that system. So yeah, I can buy my bows quite at reasonable prices. But still, still have my hit list laying around, because left-handed bows, they don't come on the market that often.
No, they don't. And that's what a lot of the shops around here, they carry everything in right-handed, almost nothing in left-handed.
Yeah.
And when I had to shop, the Nova bow was the low-end PSE. And I fixed it up so that, I give you arrows with it and a release with it and everything. You had to buy nothing except the case if you wanted the case. And I would stock, there's 3 different sizes there. They had them in 3 different models. So I'd stock 2 in right and 1 in left in each of the models. So I stocked left-handed bows. I didn't stock a lot of them in the higher end bows because I didn't sell as many of those.
No.
And I looked, the last year I had in my store, 40% of my bows I bought were left-handed. 40% of my bows are left-handed. And I'm thinking, why is that? Because I stocked left-handed bows and left-handed sights and rests.
Yeah.
I stocked them. And I didn't overcharge, because I charged the same amount. On the Nova bow, my price for a right-handed bow was, I think, $5 or $10 less than a left-handed bow. I sold them for the exact same price.
Yeah.
Everything I sold for the same price. It didn't matter whether you right it, because I didn't want to deal with, okay, this is more, and then like, no, because I sold so many of them that.
Yeah, I know that. I know that feeling. My boss had the same thing with everything, because traditional is so big here. Longbow wise, every model he also had a left-hand version of it as well, and it actually made a lot of impulse buys. It's like, especially the cheaper ones, though. The longbows are like up to €200.
Yeah.
It goes quite fast. They've got their wife with them. Usually the missus likes longbows more than other bows, and just get them to shoot, sell another bow.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. If I sell a lot, I recommended the Nova bow because it was ready to shoot, everything there. And I set them up so they're all set up. Once I got their draw length, then I finished doing the final setup, and also taught them how to shoot. Every one of my bows come with shooting instruction.
That's good.
Now, it's not a long time of shooting instruction, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to spend, half hour, whatever it takes to get you shooting, because my thought is the more you shoot, the more you like to shoot, the more you're hitting what your target is, you're going to stay, and eventually you're going to buy a new sight, because the sights on them weren't the best.
Yeah.
The rest wasn't really the best. It was a good rest, but you're going to upgrade the rest. You're going to upgrade the sight, and eventually you're going to upgrade the bow.
That's true.
Unless you lose them, because they're carbon. If you didn't lose them, you can keep them for years. And then so now, not only did I sell them a bow, get them into it, my thought was, okay, would I rather have them, not like archery, have a $300 bow sitting in their closet, or a $1,000 bow sitting in a closet?
Yeah, that's
true. I
felt
bad if I'd have the expensive one, so the $300 one, they could sell it for a couple $100, not lose much. But you take that $1,000 bow, you might sell it for $500-600. You lost more than you would have spent on the other bow completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was a couple of guys that would send people to me because I knew I wouldn't oversell them. Some of their shops were real good at, okay, you need this. This is the highest dollar stabilizer you can buy. They want to sell them a $50, $60, $80 stabilizer when they can't tell the difference. So I'd put on the cheap one, the $10, $15 one, put it on and have them shoot it, take it off, put on the high dollar one, shoot it. Tell the difference? No, buy the cheaper one.
Yeah, that's what I did as well. That was the nice thing in art. Is still the nice thing in the archery service center. It's like, especially for new starters, they need to have like that, yeah, accomplishment feeling. Like
Right.
30 minutes, after 30 minutes, you can put somebody in a good basic position. Their feet are right. Their position, their basics are a bit okay. But yeah, those 30 minutes give you so much in return because they're going to stay shooting because they're not going to lose all their arrows like after one time shooting.
And they're going to come in and pay to use the range and everything else. And, you know, I tell this story quite often because it seems to come up, but I had one guy come in, was going to sell him the low end bow. He didn't want it. He wanted a high end bow. So I sold him a high end bow. And of course, when you set up a high end bow, you take it, there's a couple extra steps we'd go through because you're spending extra money on it. So we're going to go. So, you know, I got it all set up, taught him how to shoot. 2 weeks later, he comes in from the range, says, I wrecked an arrow. He got a Robin Hood. Never shot a bow before. 2 weeks after buying his very first bow, shooting his first arrow, he gets a Robin Hood in 2 weeks.
That's nice.
But like say, because I taught him how to do it.
Well done. But how many times do you see these guys? They've got more money than brains, and they buy everything high end, and they stop shooting because their ego can't shoot that good, and they don't take stuff from anybody. And you see, you see so many people spending so much money on stuff that are never ever going to use in their full potential.
And then you got it comes over the pawn shop bow and out shoots them.
Yep.
Because it fit him.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Is if it don't fit you,
it's not going to work.
I took a guy one time, way too long a draw length. That's generally the first thing you do is shorten the draw length up because most people are shooting way too long. I started that way. The first compound I bought, I went into the store and was looking for one. She says, "Here, try this one. How's that feel?" Okay, I didn't know. I'm a recurve shooter. You know, I've always shot recurves. Like, okay, so then when that bow broke, I figured, okay, I need a new bow. That was 32-inch draw length. So I'm trying to find a 32-inch draw length bow, and I finally found one. Well, I went down in mid-95. I went down to learn how to shoot this newfangled way of shooting called back tension release.
Yeah.
You know, when a guy told me about it, it's like, well, how do you know when it's what you're going to shoot if you don't pull the trigger?
You're not going to know.
I don't know. Now I know. Yeah, that's the wrong way to do it. So I go down there and the guy says, "You're 29 and a half draw length. This is on a Friday. There's a Saturday and a Sunday class, 3-day class. And then there's an extra class, you know, to teach you how to be instructors and stuff like that." And so now on Saturday, I'm running around trying to make my bow go from 32 to 29 and a half. I got it done. You put a shorter string on it and feel like you can tweak around with it. And I got the draw length down, 29 and a half. So, okay, now I can go to the class Saturday night. And, you know, so I went through there and then now I shoot 29. So I shoot an extra half-inch shorter. The main reason is up here in Nebraska, wintertime, you're wearing a big, heavy coat.
Yep.
I've hit my coat before when I had too long a draw length. And instead of hitting the deer back in the kill zone, I hit it in the back leg. And my Muzzy broadhead actually shattered the thigh bone and went through. It still ended up dying because I, you know, bled out eventually. But, you know, bad shot because I heard it hit my arm. Well, now it's shooting 29. I can wear that same big, heavy parka and I don't hit my arm.
I don't, for me personally, I never wear arm protection. And it's the first thing people have to take off and I wasn't allowed to do that in the shop because that's cruel, they say. But when somebody decides he wants to train with me, there's one way: you take off your arm protection. That way, you know when you did something stupid.
Right. But a lot of people, when they grip the bow, they grip it, like a bat or something.
Yeah.
And that's not right. That's going to put that big meaty part of your arm right in the way.
Yep. Yep.
And in the way, I was doing some soldering on some pipe and I wiped off the solder and it right on my
Oh.
arm. It's like, oh, yeah. I was like, ouch, ouch. Yeah, blushed up a little bit, but anyway. But if you have your arm like this sticks in the way. As soon
Yeah.
as you turn that arm, what moves out? I don't know if you can say it. What happens as soon as you turn that arm,
Yeah.
that hand, that arm moves out of the way. You should never hit it. And I don't use an arm guard on my recurve because I hold it the same way I do my compound.
What I do as well, I take off the leash. So no leash, no nothing. Just make like your bow is resting in like here in your hand.
Right.
And you're not allowed to put any pressure on it. The pressure you put on the fingertips, but not on the bow. The bow is free floating. And you always have the same shot because you create that little pendulum effect. But it's hard for people not to grip the bow when they let go.
Yeah. I almost dropped the bow one time. I was doing something, setting up and shooting it. And because I have a sling on mine, so I don't hang on to it. If I shoot a deer, don't have a sling, my bow's on the ground. Because I don't grab it. I don't even think about grabbing it. And it shot, and it's like it jumped forward and hit my fingers, and I grabbed it. It's like I almost dropped it because I wasn't thinking about gripping the bow. And if you grip the bow, can you do it the same every time?
That's why I put like the
maybe.
pressure on the two fingertips, because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It's not hitting the frame of the bow.
Yeah.
And just keep. You can have like your bow, your compound pivot like a recurve bow. That's what I like about it because with my recurve background, and it's quite a simple system, and it forces you to get your bow grip exactly right. Because it's like a small trick to force you. So actually, something I used for teaching children who just begin shooting, how to hold on to your bow, because they don't really want to have their hand open. They always want to have like a little point of contact. So that's how we started that. And actually, I started trying it myself, and since I've been shooting like a baby. Do it the kids' way. Well, it works. And whatever works for you, just go. That means it's the right thing. As long as you're in the kill zone.
Yeah, it's consistency. And that's where, when we go through and, we've been teaching long enough, it's like, okay, what is working for you? What's not working? And let's figure it out. In the many years I did martial arts, you teach same technique. The same techniques executed the same way every time. Everybody does it the same way. But we have to teach it differently. Some people will pick it right away, and other times, like, you've got to go another way. You're telling somebody one way to do it, and you tell them, by the time you tell them 3 times they're not getting it, you need to tell them something different because they're not understanding what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so hard to find good coaches, because usually a coach is pretty fixed on his little system and doesn't get the broader picture of the archer. And that's something I really notice a lot with so-called trainers.
Well, there's people that, aren't the greatest shot, but are great coaches.
Yeah.
Because they can teach how to do it. Yeah. And there are those that are, great shots. It's like, Robin Hood every time. They can't teach at all.
No,
they can't teach enough. They can't even teach you how to hold the bow. So you have those two extremes, and the key is find somebody that you connect with, that you can learn from.
That's true.
You don't have to say, oh, well, you're not an Olympic archer, I can't learn from you. Yeah. Like this guy, I taught him how to shoot, and this has been, probably almost 20 years ago. I didn't have the experience teaching like I do now. And I taught him how to shoot. 2 weeks later, he gets a Robin Hood. I've taken other guys and taught them how to shoot, from 6-inch groups to, 1-2-inch groups. I took one guy, shortened his draw length because it was too long, couldn't shoot very good. And 45 minutes later, after he comes in, he's grouping, 1.5 and 2 inch groups from 6 inch groups.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's just like the only thing a good trainer should do is like put somebody on his right path.
Right.
Yeah, this is what is necessary. Okay, we're gonna work on that. And once the basic is good, you can start working on details to make it, excellent every time. And that's where the first, in the beginning, you make big steps, and then afterwards to get 1 or 2 points more is becoming a huge monumental task.
Right.
Yeah, for me, I hope to get my points 50 points up. It's feasible because at the moment my grow rate is about 20 points every training I grow. So just by getting used to these different distances and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah. Shoot the different distances and
I shot for years only 30 meters. Now it's 60 yards. 30 meters, that's like 25 yards.
yeah.
So it's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Well, we've been talking, we're close to 2 hours now.
Oh, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I planned for an hour, but yeah, they very seldom do they go an hour. We always get involved and yeah, I can talk this for quite a while, but
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
sure you got things to do, and I do have things I got to go do, and
For me it's evening already.
Yeah, well, it's just after lunchtime here, so
7:30 in the evening.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been great having you on here.
It was nice talking to you.
And I'm sure we can get on and do this again and maybe get
Absolutely.
your wife on one.
Yeah.
So
good plan. But I first have to get her so far she wants to go online.
yeah. Well, this is a little different. This is just us sitting here talking on a call.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a video call.
It's just a video call. That's true.
Yeah.
So have a nice one.
Yeah, you too.
Oh.
My name is Roy Canterbury. I've been hosting on Arch Talk 101, and stay tuned for the next one. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking with other archers around the world.